Once upon a time, a lonely kid in Wisconsin created a channel on YouTube to try to help people stop paying tourist pit prices for shit that they don't even need and that they certainly don't understand. Today's topic is perfect for this. We're going to be discussing the Demon Overdrive TS-808-809 clone pedal. Let's take a look. What the hell is an overdrive pedal? Do I need one? Do I want one? Why do I keep seeing all these guys buying $3,000 amplifiers and putting little green boxes in front of them? Little green boxes that they paid $250 a piece for. Well, in this case, we're going to start with a little background, okay? Back in the day, about the only thing you could be sure to find in a guitar amplifier was a volume knob, okay? Like, you're not going to find maximum distortion overload switches on older amps. That just wasn't on anybody's mind. So the thing was, if you were playing a gig, you had the one situation. You just had the one sound. And depending on what was going on, that can be pretty thin, man. Pretty insubstantial, you could say. Well, the more you crank up an amp, the fuller it becomes, the richer it becomes. You start moving air, and that's what everybody loves to say. Does it move air, bro? Right? It's like it's a racing term or something. But anyway, as an amplifier begins to breathe and push and shove and drive itself, it physically changes. There's physical properties changing, and that's why we get these wonderful effects. Well, the problem is that can't happen until you're pushing the dog shit out of it. And if you live in a residential neighborhood, if you're playing at a small place, that's totally out of the question. No one's ever going to let you do that. So somebody came along and figured out you can jam a circuit in front of the amplifier to drive the front end of the amplifier to get it to do that stuff without peeling the paint off the walls. Okay, so take a regular kind of boring signal. Something like that. And then we can put a little stank on it. And this is, by the way, the TS9 setting. So the point being is we came into this era, the 70s, where guys started jamming these Ibanez pedals in front of their Fender Twins and things like this, and they were getting this really cool sound. And later, metal happened, as far as I'm concerned. Real metal happened. And I'm including this because I want you to understand where I'm coming from. So I read an interview with Slash when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and I'll never forget this. And effectively, Slash was asked about pedals. He said, if you're chasing a sound in your head and you're trying to buy pedals to get your amp to sound like that, it is never going to happen. It's never going to happen, okay? Like, your killer sound is not one $300 pedal away from being yours. It's just not how it works, dude. So I learned early on, you have got to find great amplifiers. You got to find great amplifiers. And that's why I set down this tube path, right? And younger guys now, you might be on the Axe Effects path or the Kemper path or the whatever cool thing you're doing is. But this was my time. This is my deal, right? So I ditched the pedals, and I'm pretty much a cable into the front of a nice amplifier kind of a guy. That's really what I do. So all these years later, what am I finding? Tons and tons, and it's why you're on this fucking video right now, and you know it is. Everybody is jamming a little green pedal in front of a high gain amplifier. Okay? You already had the gain. Why are you doing it? Why in the world are you sticking that overdrive pedal in front of a high gain amp? Let's come back and talk about it. To best demonstrate why people do this, I wanted to grab at least a 7-string We're going to be doing a review of an 8-string coming up, so thought I'd mention that. But there's a couple of reasons I grabbed this guitar. Okay, so in the bridge position, there's a bare knuckle aftermath pickup with a ceramic magnet inside of it. Okay, so that is a passive pickup. We're going to do an active pickup after this. So 7-string guitar, we are in a drop tuning, and this is our bass signal. Sound, of course. And I'm going to give you a baseline distortion tone, which is just the angle Powerball. Gain is at about 1 o'clock on the amplifier. Okay, so far that's normal business as usual. Okay, so that's that. What I'm going to do is to start playing, I'm going to hold out a chord and hit the TS9 on top of this. And to explain this a little bit, I have everything on this amp, or on the pedal at noon. Okay, so the drive, the tone, the level, everything is right smack in the middle. And this would be doing a whole bunch of not much through a clean channel on a tube amplifier at a blues gig if you're trying to do the overdrive thing. That is not what this is. This is like a fatness injection. Okay, so we're going to start off with that distorted angle signal and then add the TS. And it's so funny because it is like the opposite of the gear that they use, but that just sounded so Slipknot to me because it's in drop A. One more time. Here it is. I wanted to point this out quick. What's crazy is, like, I'm a drive chaser. Okay, like dude, it's tricky for me. Like, if I go sit in at a gig and somebody hands me their guitar and there is just no drive coming from anywhere, I hate that shit. And there are lots of players, and bear with me on this. I watch guys, they don't bend notes. They'll do the half step slide up instead of the half step bend. and they have this whole style of playing that is inherently different than mine. Okay, so there's no right or wrong way to skin the cat, that's for sure. Like, you're probably way better guitar players than me, and you probably got way smarter ways of doing stuff. This is just, the kind of stuff that I reach for. But I can tell you right now, I've been curious about trying this for like a year, 2 years, at least, something like that. I finally broke down, bought the pedal, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of do this live. This is my first time screwing around with this right now. You're watching it on video, and I already kind of get it. So, like, it's not like you didn't have a driven amp before. It's just, it kind of really, it does. It's coming to life. I get it. So I'll screw around with this a whole bunch more, but I just wanted you to actually see my reaction. So we'll be doing more of this on the channel, and we'll talk about it more. But let's throw some active pickups at this thing and kind of see what happens with that. To help us round out the last of this little video, got a pretty cool guitar here. This is actually a Les Paul Custom, even though it has trapezoid inlays. And what's weirder still, I have a Heritage Custom that also has trapezoid inlays instead of blocks. But it ain't got a neck like this motherfucker does. That is the wildest neck I have ever seen on a Gibson at all. And definitely the wildest one I've seen on a Les Paul. We'll come back and do a review on this later. The reason I grabbed it is because it has EMG active pickups mounted inside of it. And so active pickups have an active preamp. What that means, every single time that you play something, the guitar is basically saying, I think this is what you meant. And so the active component of the pickups compensates for inconsistencies in pick attack, and it also adds its own sound. So it's kind of the same way that like a JPEG from your camera is saying, I think this is what you wanted to see, as opposed to a raw image. That's kind of what's going on. So one of the biggest reasons people use these pedals, okay, and that's why we have it out here today, is they use it to quote unquote put some color back into their active pickups. So I thought we should quickly move over to this guitar. We're going to do a quick clean signal again. Here's our angle sound, EMG 81 pickup, 1 to 2 o'clock in the angle gain. %, of that has been the TS9 setting. Let's move over to the 808, okay? And again, all this stuff is right smack in the middle, okay? So Haven't really done a lot to let the tube screamer kind of reveal itself. We're just getting that color pushed back in that we talked about. So here's the clean signal with just the 808, so you can hear that again. So that's the clean channel on the angle with that drive on. Let's hear it through the distortion channel on the angle. Seems like the 808 is a little bit darker, right? A little bit, well, different. I guess kind of a last. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of. These are sincere reactions from me, right? So I paid full pop on this, which is nothing, by the way. And we're going to talk about that as well. But this is just a pedal I bought for myself. And after screwing around with it just right now, this is the very first time I'm doing this, I get it. I get it in the sense that the amp feels a little closed mouth now, a little woolly, right? Like it could kind of use, I don't know, a little something to open it up. And I do hear this pedal doing that. And so really quickly, what I want to explain is, like, this is one of those areas where reason is definitely going to be your best resource, okay? So unlike things that have to grow in different parts of the world where there's different seasons, there's different climactic factors, and all of these things add up to make, you know, great wine, thank you, Maynard. That's not what happens with electronics, especially. Electronics is like maybe the king of things that can be quantified, okay? So right now, there's a China factory, right, making these things for Alibaba. It's like $30 or less, man, for two Tube Screamer clones, okay? You got an 808 and the TS9, both inside of that box, switchable with a little toggle, okay? So if it makes you feel good at night to pay $250 for the same circuit stuffed into a different box that came out of a different factory overseas, that's great, dude. I'm so glad you sleep well and you get the warm and fuzzies. I hate shit like that, okay? Save yourself a bundle of money if you want to screw around, if you want to see what everybody else is messing around with, or you just need a damn overdrive for your Fender Twin for your blues gig. Check one of these out. They're dirt cheap. I got a feeling like I'm going to give this one away at some point on the show. You should probably stay tuned, huh? Thanks for coming by Guitar Gear 1.